Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Oxcord Podcast presented by Boot Crew Media and sponsored by Maker's Mark. I am your host, Cruz Oxenreiter, as always joined by the co-host, Nick Perkins, the intern, Bond Snow, who's now kind of turned into the moderator, by the way. So I think we're just going to start calling him Moderator Bond from now on. And, of course, Wyatt is in the cave. Boys, happy Monday, or at least, it's Monday. I guess you can't really say it's happy anymore. Kind of sad, but Week 10, college football done. Week 9, NFL done. And boys, it's sad day hours.
Like,
it's a tough one, man. Like, I did not see this one coming. I mean, should we just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off?
Let's just rip the Band-Aid off with it, yeah.
All right, Bond, go ahead,
Alabama, LSU, ranked 6 and number 10 going in. 32-31, LSU gets the win in overtime on a 2-point conversion.
Look, there's no way around it. We were outcoached, we were outplayed, and we were out-hearted, I think, out-effort. And LSU, I take my hat off to them. They played one hell of a game. There's nothing bad I can say about it. You can't say anything bad about the refs. You can't say anything bad about Jaden Daniels and Brian Kelly and their game plan, what they had, and that environment was electric. And they just went in and they punched Alabama in the mouth. They were not afraid of them once. They didn't lay down and die. They straight up punched Alabama in the mouth. And at the end of it, Alabama didn't get up from that punch. And man, what can you say? Everything that could go wrong this year has gone wrong for Alabama. And before I get into it, I just have to say, I really hate that I was right about Jaden Daniels and LSU this year already. I hate it. I called it. I said LSU would finish second in the SEC West, and I said Jaden Daniels would be the one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC this year, coming from Arizona State. I've been high on this kid for almost 2 years now. It sucks, man. There's no way around it. Alabama's season is virtually over. It's basically going to take a miracle for Alabama to make the SEC championship game. Now, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to win out. They have a game against Ole Miss this week, and they have a knockout game, or like a cupcake game, and then you have Auburn at home. And what you need now is you need to win. You need LSU to lose to Arkansas this weekend and A&M last week of the season, which not hold my breath for, and basically beat Georgia in the SEC championship game and then pray. Yeah. That is the only way any good can come out of this scenario. Like, this would be the first 2-loss team to make it to the college football playoff if it happened.
I would almost hate it if you did.
No, we got, you know what I mean? I losses a couple seasons ago.
No, we only had one.
We only had one. There's never been a 2-loss.
There's never been a 2-loss team. The closest there's been to a 2-loss team was Ohio State in 2017, and I believe it was Auburn 2017. Had they beat Georgia in the SEC championship game that year, they would have made it because they beat Georgia and Bama back-to-back weeks, and they were number 2 going into that. There's never been a 2-loss team in the college football playoffs. LSU has a chance to do it if they win the SEC. You beat Ole Miss, you beat Bama, and then you go into the SEC championship game and you beat Georgia. There's no way you can keep them out. Absolutely not. But yeah, man, like, I guess let's start talking about the game. Like, Bond, where do you want to start? Like, I'll let you pick, and then me and Nick will go.
So the first drive, we looked really good.
Yeah.
Great scripted drive. That's the only positivity I can say about Bill O'Brien. Was the first scripted drive that you do coming out of 2 weeks was phenomenal. Had LSU's defense completely on their heels, and then obviously a tough turnover at the end of it. That was a bad decision by Bryce, and it's very rare.
It's hero ball. It's hero ball. It is something that Bryce has gotten away with the majority of his career, and it's been okay. But I'll say this. Bryce never should have been in that situation because they should have just ran the damn ball in the red zone, which we have. That has been the theme of this season. We have arguably one of the best running backs in the country. The numbers speak for itself. and we just don't use them. It's absolutely insane. That is like having a Ferrari in a trailer park. Like, what's the point? We don't use them. It is awful. Jahmyr Gibbs is electric. Every time he touches the ball, you hold your breath because you're like, oh man, he's just going to rip off a 20-yard run again. And Bryce just like, he had the throw, but obviously like he should have thrown a little more outside, the whole Monday morning quarterback thing. It was just a bad read, but this offense, man, is just not good. And it's not because we don't have talent. Like, that's not an excuse. Like, we have 4 and 5-star guys, all-American talent everywhere across the ball, except I would say at tight end. I think Cameron Latou is good, but he's not great. Running backs, quarterback, wide receivers, offensive line. Like, this offense should be putting up 45 points a game with ease. And it looks, and honestly, Nick, I have been like playing high school football in Mobile, Alabama. I've seen high school offenses that are way more creative than what I'm seeing from Bill O'Brien.
That's I'm going to let you finish, but that's kind of my point on this game. So I'll let you finish your point, but then I'll talk about that.
And I will say this. I thought LSU had a great game plan. I think their linebacker, their freshman linebacker Perkins was fantastic. I thought he was phenomenal. I thought he played a great game. He did a great job spying Bryce Young. I'll say this: like Jaden Daniels is him. He is great. He did enough to win the game. Honestly, I thought this too, is that if you are gonna play the number 6 team in the country, a team that has historically owned you for the last decade plus, and you score in one play. And I know that there was a questionable block in the back kind of thing. Like, I get it. It's a bang, bang play. That stuff gets missed all the time. It happens. It just does. But you immediately, like, there's no doubt in Brian Kelly and Jaden Daniels in that offense's mind, like, they were going for 2 the moment it happened.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. he said it after the post-game interview too.
Yeah, he said it was going, and they called a play that has harassed Alabama for years, a rollout to the flat. There wasn't a pick. There wasn't a pick play at all. It was just like
a fullback in the flat.
And now, and the crazy thing was, and I've seen this stat, that was Jason Taylor's kid, NFL Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. That's his son. Okay. And what's crazy, he's a freshman. 2, you remember that video that went viral of Brian Kelly like doing the bad dance and like all that stuff? That kid was a tight end. That kid went to Alabama. And then this kid who caught the game-winning 2-point conversion, and also the potential like game-winning touchdown towards the end, unless Bryce Young would have saved him, that was the guy who came in and replaced him. It's like it was just like one of those storybook things. They rushed the field, which, I mean, like, I have no problem with the program rushing the field if the circumstances fit it. It was an upset, a team you hadn't beat at home in over a decade, an overtime win on the last play. No one expected you to win. And you go in, you play one of the games of the year, which, again, every time Alabama loses, it's somehow the game of the year. And I hate it because it just, like, it's true. Like, A&M last year, game of the year. Georgia last year, it was teetering towards the game of the year. Tennessee, game of the year. This one, game of the year. I'm like, are you kidding me? Can we just not? LSU 2019, game of the year. And I'm just like, come on.
Well, I mean, and that's like pretty much all the losses.
Game of the year.
That's all the losses in the last like 3 years.
We don't get blown out. So the last time like I watched Alabama lose and like I didn't like have an emotional panic attack over it was the Natty in 2018 where Clemson blew us out.
Beat the dog shit out of it.
Yes, and I was okay with that. I'm like, all right, well, it's like, well, definitely, like, we weren't the better team. They were. And I'm okay with that. Like, these games are like, we're the better team. And it just doesn't go
you say that, but I actually halfway disagree with you on that one because the team goes all the way down from coordinators down, like coaching down. You know what I mean? And like, if you have good coordinators or bad coordinators, that's pretty much like having a good quarterback or bad quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, you can have a good team, but if you don't have that piece that connects it all together, it's just not going to work. Now, and this kind of goes, I want to spend just a couple of minutes on like what you were talking about with the creativity on offense, because
Yes, go ahead.
a lot of my problems with Bill O'Brien is how simple and simplistic and basic. Like these are Madden plays, man. These are just straight up normal blocking schemes, normal stretches. That there's no creativity on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's where most of my frustration comes from, and probably the reasoning we see all these 4 and 5 star guys that we're used to putting up 40, 45 points a game are not doing that, because the offense is just so kind of bad in a way. I mean, like so basic, and it's very easy to defend. Like LSU ran up and what I want to say they ran a 4-3 with that Perkins dude at a spy to Bryce Young. And they just ran straight up man-to-man coverage on the outside. There was nothing really that complex about what they did.
And there was
maybe on certain
longer
third downs, they ran some bracket and with safety help over the top. But your basic play, they didn't run anything crazy, right? So
no.
What my issue with, and honestly, that game would have been probably a blowout if Bryce Young doesn't play, because his like ability to extend plays, make stuff happen, is unbelievable.
No, and Nick, you're 100% right. Like the amount of times over the last 2 years Bryce Young has saved Alabama from being blown out or straight up losing a game it's actually incredible. Like I don't. Here's the thing about Bryce. Like I hate that. Most likely, he will not win a ring as a starting quarterback as a starting quarterback at Bama.
Oh, it's a travesty.
It is. It's absolutely. I know he's got one in 2020, but Mac was obviously the starter. But like, it's insane. I'll go down the list. Starting from last year, Florida last year, 2-point game. It took an incredible comeback effort against A&M last year. Tennessee last year had a 28-point fourth quarter. Trying to see what else. Arkansas last year, Auburn last year, Georgia. Georgia in the SEC championship game. And then you go back to this year, Texas. Let's see. Yeah, Texas. I would say, I mean, Tennessee probably blows us out if it wasn't for Bryce Young. This game, it probably is another blowout without Bryce Young. I mean, we just haven't looked good. And it's insane. Like, I've seen Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron, Jacob Coker win national championships. And I know it was a different kind of era, but I've seen guys who are just decent high school and college quarterbacks win national championships at Alabama. But like Bryce is so good and he's so talented that like it makes no sense. Like if you put Bryce on Alabama right now, like this version of Bryce, you put him on 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, like 2011, 2012, we don't lose a game.
Yeah, and every game's probably about like 30 or 40 point wins.
And it's absolutely insane. And I think a lot of things go into it. And like I said, I want to take nothing away from LSU at all. LSU is a fantastic team. I was high on them before the season got here. I thought that they were like another year away. No, Brian Kelly's he's built the animal. Like LSU was a sleeping giant who needed the right guy to light a fire in their ass, and he was the guy. And we can't make fun of Brian Kelly anymore, like being like, oh, like he couldn't win the big game. No, it was just because he was at Notre Dame and he was limited. He's actually a great coach.
He's actually a great coach. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I'm stealing this take from Jake Corain, who's like a friend of the show. But he said something that I was actually pretty profound in a way. When Brian Kelly came there, everybody didn't really like the hire. Nobody really thought he would fit.
We didn't like it.
Well, I mean, I've said I was very open. I didn't think he was going to succeed there. I thought he was going to be fired in 3 years. Obviously, that was a terrible take. But something that Jake said that was really, really interesting to me. Brian Kelly to LSU is like that stepdad that you didn't know you needed, but you really did need. You know what I mean? They've had the fun uncle of Coach O and Les Miles, like, you know, the Mad Hatter. They had like all like the player friendly guys, you know what I mean? And then now they finally got a guy in there that is very technically sound, that is, very fundamental in the way that, very similar to the way Saban runs a program, very CEO status level. He's the top guy and coaches everything from the top down. He's not, I wouldn't necessarily call him a big players coach guy, but this is something to be said that in his first year at LSU, he knocks off Alabama.
Yeah, first year SEC West. Not only has he knocked off Alabama, he knocked off Ole Miss, and he has an opportunity to win the SEC West in his first year. Has a chance to win an SEC title. Now, granted, Georgia is a whole other animal,
behemoth.
But what I was gonna say basically goes to look. The culture at Alabama right now is it's fragile, it's cracked, it's broken.
Great.
And it just is. This is not when you have former players from not even like a decade ago or like the 80s or the 70s, when you have players that were only at the University of Alabama, 5, 6, 7 years ago, tweeting how soft and how predictable we are, like guys like Reggie Ragland, guys like Reuben Foster, guys like Eddie Jackson, guys
Dallas
like
Warmack. I mean, the
list
goes on.
I mean, when you have guys like that who came in and built a culture at Bama and created this mentality and this attitude and the swagger, question you as a leader, a football player, and like that says something. And I think too, we just don't have those guys on the sideline anymore. And I don't think it's NIL. I don't think it's the type of guys we're bringing in. I think it's our supporting cast when it comes to coaching. And look, I will never, ever be smarter than Nick Saban when it comes to football and X's and O's. I never will. Neither will you. Neither will Bond.
100 lifetimes. You could give me 100 lifetimes and I couldn't do it.
I can't. Yeah. But there has to be a drastic change coming this offseason. I believe there will, because the comments that he's made the last couple of days, there's change coming. And I have two names that I want to bring to the table to replace. I want Dan Mullen as our offensive coordinator.
Love that.
And I know like people are going to be like, Dan Mullen, like, what are you talking about? Look what happened at Florida. Look what Dan Mullen did as an offensive coordinator at the University of Florida. Not a head coach, offensive coordinator. This man won a national championship with a guy named Chris Leak. Never played it down in the NFL, but won a national championship with Chris Leak. Won Tim Tebow a Heisman as a sophomore, first sophomore to ever do it. Won a national championship with Tim Tebow in 2008. 2009, he goes to Mississippi State. Tim Tebow's number drastically went down his senior year. In that offense, with guys like Chris Rainey, Jeff Demps, Riley Cooper, Aaron Hernandez, the Pouncey twins. Like that team was stacked in 2009. And offensively, they looked like Alabama does right now. They did with guys like that. And then you go to Mississippi State, what he does there. Has Dak Prescott into a Heisman favorite. And I know they ran into Alabama. But that was back when Alabama had dogs on offense and defense. And
Mississippi State is number one team in the country.
They did, which no one else has ever had. And he's had Mississippi State as a top 25 program by the time he left, with guys like Nick Fitzgerald, and then he got guys like Will Rogers, and goes to Florida. And yes, was his term at Florida successful? No, but he also ran into the juggernaut dynasty that is now Georgia. Tennessee was on the rise. Kentucky was good. And then in COVID, he played Alabama and took us to the wire with one of the best offenses we've seen in modern day, with Kyle Trask and Kadarius Toney and Grimes and Kyle Pitts and Damian Pierce. Like, the guy can coach offense. He would do wonders here. And then on defense, go get me Jeremy Pruitt back. Go get him back. Go get me that guy who will let his players yell at each other on the sidelines and throw hands. Go get me that guy who will get in a player's face, not touch them, but let them know, hey, you're not all that. You're not that good. And then, because I don't see that fire from Pete. I don't see Pete getting in each other's faces. I don't see Bill O'Brien getting in the offensive line's face. Or
hell, he just camps out in the damn in the coaches.
So I see no love, I see no passion, I see no desire from this, and I've heard this from multiple people that Pete just he's just there. He's just there on the sidelines, right next to Saban, and he's had his time. It has not worked out since 2019. We have been like wanting to fire Pete Golding into the sun. Bill O'Brien, this is his last year. I would be curious to see like if Pete still has a job after this one. That one wouldn't surprise me. Like I can see Pete staying, but there is a 0% chance Bill O'Brien stays with this team. This offense is awful. Look, I put out a tweet the other day. Actually, it was yesterday that I was like, hey, it's a great day to fire Bill O'Brien and Pete Golding. I knew they weren't going to, but I was just, funny. But when I have our recruits, like actual Alabama recruits, liking and retweeting my tweets about firing the assistant coaches, it's real.
Yeah.
A five-star wide receiver from, and I'm not going to say what school, but a 5-star wide receiver literally liked and retweeted anything I said about firing Bill O'Brien. That's how you know it's real. So I'll leave it at that. Shout out to LSU. Congratulations on an amazing win. Like I said, I'm very happy for Jaden Daniels. I'm happy for my friends from the state of Louisiana, and LSU has arrived in the SEC West, and we're going to get Brian Kelly versus Nick Saban for, I don't know, I would say probably the next 5 years if we're lucky, depending on when Saban hangs it up. But this rivalry, holy shit. Like if we get games like that every year, I don't think I'm gonna make it to my 40s.
Well, take it back to like the Les Miles years where it was just like every single game was nuts, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably gonna go back to that, but we can move on. Bron, what's the next game?
Bon, yeah.
All right.
Shit, 20 minutes on that.
We got UGA Tennessee next up. UGA 27-13, but don't let the score fool you. That game was not that close.
That game was never close.
No.
Georgia really turned it off. He turned it off. I mean, they turned it off in the second half. They probably could have ran that score up and had a crazy score line. But man, that Tennessee offense just ran into a buzzsaw of that defense, man. And this is the other thing I'll say about this game. Shout out to the fans of Georgia that made Sanford Stadium the most hostile environment in the country last week. That place was shaking how loud it was. You could tell, when you're watching games on TV and you can tell when something is very intense. I mean, there wasn't a soul in that stadium that sat down for 4 quarters. In the pouring ass rain, everything, they were the loudest stadium in the country last year. So you got to tip your hat to them.
Watching this game, it immediately I was like watching it. I was like, damn. This game would be so good to be at. Yeah, no. This was like,
that's what I felt.
It's true.
Like,
no, this was like a Georgia Alabama game back a couple years ago, like 2015. Yeah. This was a great environment in college football. Like this was fantastic. And Georgia, first play of the game, gets a couple yards. All right, they're moving the ball, and then what happens? Fumble. You're like, oh no. I immediately was like, oh no, like this is you have to be kidding me. Is Tennessee really going to do this again? And then luckily Georgia's defense, and we've talked a lot about Georgia's defense this year about being like, hey, like they lost a lot of talent. Like maybe they're just like, they just need some time. Well, guess what? They got their time. They've clicked. They figured it out. And damn it, they are so good. They're fast. They're physical. They're mean. Kirby Smart has built himself an elite program in college football. I right now, and I'll say this, and this is probably going to be a really unpopular opinion with a lot of people who listen to the show. I think Georgia right now is a better program than Alabama. I do. I think they are.
As of this week, or
like as of this year. Like wow. as of I would say actually the last 2 years. I would say this. I would say from 2021 right now currently Georgia is a better football program than Alabama. And I know that is an insane thing to say, but like the numbers speak for themselves, Nick. The body of work speak for itself. I see consistency with Georgia. Mm-hmm. I see what Nick Saban built and was able to sustain from 2009, let's just say 2009 from his first national championship, up to about 2018. Let's just say 2018, because 2020, agree. I think it's one of the best college offenses of all time. and they won a natty. But 2021 was the Bryce Young and Will Anderson show. We were not a national championship team last year. We weren't. Agreed. And I don't care. We weren't a national, like on paper, maybe, but it was Jamison Williams coming on late, Bryce Young being amazing, Will Anderson having one of the greatest defensive seasons of all time to literally save us. And then this year has been the Bryce Young show because I haven't seen Will Anderson anywhere. Did you hear Will Anderson's name called at all on Saturday?
Well, he actually got crazily. He still got 2 sacks.
He did.
But it's one of those where it's like I thought this year with Will Anderson, he was the kind of guy that would like every single drive he was making some bananas defensive effort, and like now it seems like, and I'm not questioning his ability nor his like dedication, but there's been a lot of times where it seems like he gets double teamed, just kind of sits there in the pocket. Like he's containment. And I don't know if that's a Pete Golding thing. I may be on a Pete Golding thing saying, Will Anderson, you're going to play containment, which is stupid.
I couldn't agree more. Like, do you remember the pass rush against A&M?
A&M, dude, he was in the backfield every play. Now he's just not around anymore. It's crazy.
He's not. And so anyways, back to Georgia. I just think right now what they've built and the consistency and the players that they have and the reloading, like this looks like Alabama like a couple of years ago. Kirby Smart, and I really think this too. If you go back and look from I would say 2017, because 2016, those were all Kirby's guys that he brought in, like Reuben Foster, Rashawn Evans, like Jonathan Allen, Jerron Payne, Tim Williams, like all those guys all were Kirby. When you go to 2017, other than guys like Tony Brown or Mika Fitzpatrick, or I'm trying to think who else was like Roquan Davis and some of the linemen, the rest are not him. And that's kind of where the defense, I feel like, lost their edge. Kirby knew the kind of guys on defense to look for, attitude-wise, and it's just gone downhill so much. Like, do we have a tough guy on our team? Like other than Will Anderson, because he's a physical freak. Name one other player on our defense right now who is legitimately terrifying, other than Will Anderson.
You could look at Dallas Turner on the other side, but as far as like where you're going at, because you can be a freak athlete, you can be 6'6", 250, but be a teddy bear and be a bad football player.
Yeah,
you don't have that attitude, right? And I'm not saying Will Anderson doesn't have that attitude, but he's a freak athlete that should dominate, even if he's getting double teamed, every single person he goes against. There's not a reason on this earth that he should not dominate anybody. And he doesn't. And I don't know if it's the complacency that Saban talks about at times with this team, or if it's other situations going on. But it seems like Will Anderson's more interested in doing throwback commercials than he is about getting out there and sacking the quarterback. Sometimes.
And it's just like, it's insane. But then I look at Georgia's defense and guys like
those guys are mean as shit, dude.
They're look at that front seven.
Mean.
And tell if you could look at that front seven. And I swear to God, if you look at them and you just change the color to a different shade of red, you swear you're watching the 2015 or 2016 Alabama defense. Like, they are just fast, mean, don't care. And the energy that they have on the sideline, like they actually look like they're enjoying it. Like they look like they're having fun. We're not having that. Those days of jumping around the sideline, like I love Kirby's enthusiasm. I've always loved Kirby Smart. It'll never happen. He's never leaving Georgia. I think the only way he ever left Georgia would be to go try coaching in the NFL, but I don't think he'll do it.
Even then, like, why would you?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, why would I get one first-round draft pick a year when I recruit 15 of them? Right. So, but yeah, honestly, like, this game was never close. Georgia looked fantastic. The environment was great. I know the weather played a factor, but even before it started downpouring, Tennessee never had a shot. Hendon Hooker looked normal for the first time, and he looked human for the first time a year. And look, the SEC officiating crew that keeps getting these games needs to be investigated and fired and demoted. Like, they are awful.
Every big Tennessee game they're in, every single one, they are in. I would say, truly, I would honestly say you could chalk that Alabama-Tennessee game to refs.
Yes.
You can't do that. You can't do that with Alabama-LSU. You just
No.
can't. But then the calls that they made, the safety call.
That safety call, oh my God.
Was Burnett. They reviewed it. They reviewed it, and they still messed it up.
In Athens, too. Not even in Knoxville, in Athens.
I put it out. Like I found the video and I put it out and I was like, man, if they don't give this call to Georgia, and I don't like Georgia, first off, if they don't give this call to Georgia, they need to be investigated because there was absolutely no reason that they can make that call on the field and then stand it with replay. And they did somehow. They did it. It's crazy.
It's just like it's insane that.
Give them give them Missouri Vanderbilt for God's sakes. Like give them the bullshit games no one cares about.
They're gonna get the SEC championship game. Watch, like watch. We'll get them for Iron Bowl, and we'll have like 20 penalties and Brian Denny. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But anyways, I know we've been going on this rant for a little bit. But look, Georgia's the number one team in the country. I think they're the number one program in the country right now. It doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. Like right now, if I had to put money on a team to win the playoffs, I think it's Georgia. I think they're getting hot at the right time. I think they are the most reliable, consistent team. I think offensively and defensively, they can hang with anybody. They just held the number one offense in football to nothing. Yeah. Like they made the Heisman frontrunner look human. Bad
at times. Yes, at certain times he did not look good at all. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely insane. Great environment. I kind of wish I was there. Look, Tennessee, like now they need help. They somehow need Georgia to lose, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I will say this: Tennessee still has a shot to make the playoffs, depending on what's happening, because the chaos is just happening all over the place. Alabama is essentially done, so you got them out of the way. Clemson loses. We'll get into that later. So, like, there's an opportunity for Tennessee to still sneak in.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of stuff that they needed to happen happened. It was Alabama losing. That was a big one for them. And then, I mean, honestly, Clemson losing was huge for them as well because Clemson wins out. They take up one of those spots that they would give to a second SEC team. So because you're going to say Ohio State and Michigan, that's going to figure itself out. TCU goes undefeated. They should probably be in, but the Pac-12 champ is going to be a one-loss team. Obviously, it's going to be a one-loss team. So then you're going to be looking at a head-to-head between Tennessee and a Pac-12 champion, just being like, which one's the better team on paper? I mean, how do you not get Tennessee?
I'll say this though, I would have no problem if Oregon wins out, them being in the playoffs again. They're a completely different team than what they look like in Week 1. I think that game would be a lot different. I mean, Bo Nix right now is in Heisman talks, which is absolutely insane to say. But we've been on this long enough. Bond, let's go to the next game.
All right, since we talked on Clemson, Notre Dame, let's speed run through these last three, starting with Clemson, Notre Dame. Notre Dame blew them out 35-14. No, Clemson did not look good at all.
No,
I think DJU's time in Clemson is done.
It is done. Look, I didn't get a chance to watch the full game. I went back and I watched the condensed game. I could not believe this, actually. Am I surprised Clemson lost? Not really. Am I surprised I got blown out and completely manhandled? Absolutely, I was. I thought Clemson was supposed to be one of the best defensive teams in the country. I thought Notre Dame, a team that lost to Marshall, by the way, was absolutely in control this entire game. And I'll say this. The come where Notre Dame started this year to where they're at now, props to them. Okay, so take out the Marshall loss. Their only other losses are to UNC, who currently right now I think is the best team in the ACC, and it's to Ohio State, who's the number 2 team in the country. So yeah, if you exclude the Marshall loss, which is an unforgivable, obviously, but look at it. They lost to an 8-1 team and a 9-0 team, and they've turned it around. First year head coach, quarterback gets hurt. Lost a ton to the NFL draft. Like, I was shocked I mean, 45-13 is absolutely ridiculous. DJ only
was 30. Is it 35 or 45?
It's 35-14. Yeah. Notre Dame had a 21-point fourth quarter, and that's when they kind of just ran away with the game. Like it was. I mean, to be 14-0 going into the fourth, and then you're like, okay, like there's still a shot. There's still a chance that Notre Dame blows this game, and then first, I think it was like the second or third play from, the second or third play of like the fourth quarter, you get a touchdown. And you're like, damn, all right, now DJ's got to score 21 points, and then they get down there, and then they returned it 96-yard pick six, and I'm like, wow, like unbelievable. Like they marched down the field like so quick, and then DJ just awful throw. DJ's time at Notre Dame or at Clemson's done after this Notre Dame game. Like it was bad. There's no defending this. Like, and it kind of goes. It's kind of like an Alabama thing too. If you look at it, like on paper, this should be a national championship caliber team. Mm-hmm. On the field, they have not lived up to expectations once this year.
Yeah, the only difference I would say between Alabama and Clemson is for the Alabama, you can kind of look at the coordinators and say, man, like,
yes,
okay, that's where it's letting them down. With Clemson, man, it's their players. Like they can't. That offensive line could not make a hole for that running back. I'm forgetting his name right now.
Will Shipley.
Will Shipley, who should be a top 5 back in the league right now. And he will be if he had a proper offensive line. And then DJ, you just throwing the ball all over the place, can't find a receiver. So. Yeah, I think for it's the same issue with two different like variables going on. I think you can kind of look at the players at Clemson and kind of draw a little fault there. I watched like you. I didn't get to watch it in live form, but I watched the condensed version like for the show. And I didn't necessarily have a problem with a lot of the play calling, but man, their players were just not. That was a tough game for them. And I think that other side of it is. They kind of rolled over and died in that last fourth quarter,
honestly, it was the pick six that did it. I thought that there was a shot that Clemson could like, all right, like maybe they can just get a few plays because Clemson has been able to win games in the fourth quarter all year. They did it against Syracuse, NC State, Florida State. Like they have been able to win games in the second half. So I'm like, all right, get a turnover, get an interception, you get something. Just nothing worked. And then that pick six was devastating. And Clemson's season now, I even think if they went out, they're not going to make the playoffs. Like, why would they? Even as a one-loss ACC champ, like I don't think they're one of the best 4 teams in the country. I would take a 2-loss Alabama team over Clemson any day of the week because, like, you look at it, it's like, yeah, at the time, Bama lost to the number 5 team in the country by a last-second field goal, and then they just lost to the number 8 team in the country by 1 point in overtime on the road. Both games on the road, by the way.
Right, and I would also take the loser of the Ohio State-Michigan game over.
Oh my God, 100%. I actually think now the way that everything's worked out, that's going to be the case. As long as Michigan doesn't screw up or Ohio State doesn't screw up, the loser of that game, as long as it's not a blowout, like if it was a game like last year where it's like a touchdown game or it comes down to like a field goal or something like that, the loser of that game most likely will probably get the 4 seed.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, we're looking at a scenario where like we could have 1 and 3 from the SEC and 2 and 4 from the Big Ten. That's kind of crazy.
It all depends what TCU does.
TCU, they're a big variable for sure.
All right, Bon, what's next?
Texas, Kansas State. Texas pulls the upset 34-27.
Yeah, I was happy about this one.
I
called it. Yeah, I called it. I was pretty happy about it. The Texas team is very inconsistent, and it drives me absolutely insane. But this is the Big 12, and things happen. And I think Texas, since their Texas Tech loss, has been a lot better. I think that this team is moving in the right direction. I want them to because I like Steve Sarkisian, but this team is like you don't know what Texas you're going to get. Are we going to get Bama Texas or are we going to get Texas Tech Texas? Like we just don't know. I think this team has a chance to finish strong. I don't know how the rest of the Big 12 playoff scenario will work right now. I know TCU is basically locked in. Oklahoma State's done. Like Jesus, like talk about like
I've never been more wrong about a team in my life. I thought Oklahoma State was them this year, and my God, did they fall off?
I mean they started out hot, then they lost to TCU, and they have just imploded. Which is unfortunate for me and Wyatt, mainly Wyatt. I have one playoff team that's actually possible left, and that's Ohio State. That is not good.
Oh yeah, no, I'm the same. I think I only have one as well. No, I have two because I have Georgia as well. So I have two. I have Georgia and Ohio State. So there you go.
Not great, guys. But anyways, this game was fun. It's typical Big 12 game. But yeah, shout out Texas. Good for them.
All right, last one to round out the college slate. Michigan State upsetting Illinois 23-15.
Yeah, look at that. I'm also rocking our Relentless shirt today. For a friend of the show, Mel Tucker. Good bounce back win. Illinois was kind of like one of those teams where it's like, okay, like good for them. Like, like they're winning, not great, but I mean, they look good. Their running back was fantastic. Michigan State finally showed up. Now they still technically control their destiny to make a bowl game, which would be nice to go from the Peach Bowl to not making a bowl game. So we want that for him. But Peyton Thorne played well. Jalen Reed is ridiculous. We here at the Oxcord podcast want Mel Tucker and Michigan State to be successful. So I was happy for him. Big time win after a very controversial loss against Michigan with the whole tunnel thing and everything that goes along with it. But shout out to our boy Mel Tucker and Michigan State.
Yeah, no, I don't really have an opinion on the actual game. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but just happy for him. A lot of people were kind of questioning his leadership ability after that whole incident in the tunnel. So it was good to be able to see that he's gotten the team back on track and got a big win. That was on the road, wasn't it? It was Illinois at home, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so that's a big win on the road for them. So, yeah.
All right.
And that concludes our college slate.
Yeah, let's go. Boom.
Since we're going into the NFL, let's talk. I just want to talk about the game tonight quickly.
Yes.
Because I have a very substantial amount of money placed on the Saints plus 3.5 right now.
You got it at 3.5? Whoo.
I got it at 3.5.
Rough.
Yeah.
That's
3.5 currently.
It's all right.
But I think the Saints win this game outright.
So, if you listened to the show last week, I was very not with this take. I thought that Baltimore was a little bit better. I have talked myself out of that. I'm an idiot. The Saints are going to win this game. I have a parlay on this game. I'm going to go over it right now. Shout out to our boy Mincy, friend of the show, for helping me with this parlay. So right now, it is a 3-legger. I have, let me find it. I have Chris Olave over 62.5 receiving yards. I think right now with him being wide receiver 1, that is a safe bet. Right now, probably him and Kenneth Walker are fighting it out for rookie of the year. I have a Taysom Hill anytime touchdown for plus 150. Feel pretty good about that. QB power, just 3rd and short, 4th and goal. Once the Saints get into the red zone, Taysom Hill is touching the football. And I have Saints money line plus 105. I think the Saints are actually going to win this game. It's a night game in New Orleans. Statistically, we are very good on Monday Night Football in the Superdome. Alvin Kamara has had great back-to-back games. It looks like he's fully healthy. I think Chris Olave is stepped into the wide receiver 1 role. Our defense looked great last week. I do feel like we have the advantage here as long as we can contain Lamar Jackson from running wild against us. But I like our speed on the outside defensively to contain that. I actually feel pretty good about this. So I'm going to take the Saints in the upset. I know it's not like a crazy upset gambling wise, but if you look at this, if you look at the realm of the NFL this year, this is an upset if we win. But I'm going Saints, and I'm betting it on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Make sure that you use promo code BOOT, that's BOOT. Place a $10 bet on any game to win $200 in free bets. Can't beat a deal like this. The NFL season is halfway over, so make sure you're getting your money in now. That is promo code BOOT, BOOT. You can gamble along with me. Make sure you use that parlay that I just used. Only using the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sponsor of the Oxford podcast and the NFL. Boom. Nailed it.
Love it.
Right.
I'm going with you on this parlay, by the way. I'm putting it in right now.
So I will say this: Mincy did talk me out of Alvin Kamara anytime touchdown and to Taysom Hill touchdown. And I was like, damn it, as he got me. All right, let's do it. so if my parlay doesn't hit, Mincy's doesn't either, and neither does Nick. So just heads up.
I'm a rider. Let's ride.
Oh, Rico Ryder? No,
I'm a Rico Ryder, dude.
No, I'm not a Rico Ryder. I'm a Mincy King of the South stan. He is the true King of the South. Okay, but anyways, going over this game, like being logistic, I do think Alvin Kamara is going to eat again. He looks healthy. He only needs 2 touchdowns tonight to break the Saints' all-time most career touchdowns. Not name obviously a quarterback. Not name a quarterback. Marcus Colston. Nick, which I know you're very familiar with because he's the Falcons. Currently holds the record at 72. He played at 146 games for the Saints. Alvin Kamara has played in 80 games with the Saints, and he has 73 touchdowns.
Jeez.
Oh no, I'm sorry, not 73. He has 71 touchdowns. So he needs 73 to break the record. I think he breaks it tonight on Monday Night Football. It would be great. I love this. Alvin Kamara is my favorite player in the NFL. Like, it's hard not to love this guy. Especially when the Saints draft Jahmyr Gibbs and they pair Alvin Kamara and Jahmyr Gibbs up together.
What a replacement for Mark Ingram Jahmyr Gibbs would be.
I know. Well, I think it's going to be Mark's last year. He's hurt.
He's going to retire as a Saint.
Yeah, and I think I could see him actually coming back to be a coach. Or be in the media. Like, I think he's fantastic on camera.
Oh, he's great in the media. He has his podcast is incredible.
Yeah, he was actually on the sideline in Baton Rouge. Yeah, big trust. He was on the sideline, but I like the Saints in this game. I think it's gonna be a really close game. I think the Ravens, they have talent now. I know Kenyon Drake, Bama boy friend of mine. He's on the Ravens, so it's gonna be rough rooting against them. If the Saints can contain Mark Andrews, I feel pretty good. No Rashad Bateman. Yeah, I feel pretty good. Good. But Baltimore has studs on defense. They have Marlon Humphrey. They have they just traded for Roquan Smith. They have Patrick Queen, Marcus Williams, former Saint. He's had a fantastic year for the Ravens.
What's the Ravens record right now?
I think they're 5-3.
5-3 with the 32nd out of 32nd streak to schedule right now. By the way, the
really
Ravens has had the easiest schedule so far. And they're 5-3. So that on top of the fact that they're just the Saints are at home. I love everything you said about Alvin Kamara. I think having like something to play for, something to fight for, breaking that record for him on Monday Night Football would be really, really cool. And I think Andy Dalton's actually very serviceable. I
do too.
I would even go as far as to say he's probably better in this offense than Jameis Winston is.
The last couple of weeks, I would say since the Cincinnati game, even parts of the London game too, I would say that's true. That's factual. I really would have wished that Andy would have gotten
Michael Thomas is a bum. I just got to throw that in there.
Yeah. Look, I think Michael Thomas has played his last game as a Saint. I really do. I could see him getting shipped off in the offseason to a team like Buffalo, a team like Green Bay,
Los Angeles.
No, do not put that evil on me.
Watch, but he'll go to LA and he'll immediately like have a resurgence in his career. It's a typical Saint way. Like, look at the Eagles and the Ravens right now. Do you know who leads the league in interceptions? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The guy that we just traded for a 5th and 6th round. Do you know the second leader in interceptions? Marcus Williams, the free agent that we let walk, is now a Baltimore Raven. So, yeah, people leave and they become great. Look at what happened when Mark Ingram left New Orleans, goes to Baltimore, rushes for 1,000 yards. Like, it just happens. Like, it's just Trey Hendrickson, Von Bell, they go to the Super Bowl. Like, these things just happen. So he'll go to Green Bay.
And that is pretty tough.
He'll go to Green Bay and he'll become an All-Pro again. Hopefully,
he'll have a 1,500-yard, 10-touchdown year.
It would be the most New Orleans Saints thing in the world. All right, let's move on to the games that we've already talked about. I have the Saints tonight. Nick, you have the Saints tonight.
I do too.
Vaughn,
I'm taking Saints.
You have Ravens or Saints?
In New Orleans on Monday night, I'm going to go with Saints.
All right, there we go.
All right, let's open it up with Nick. Falcons Chargers. What a way to lose that game.
Oof, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, again, it's one of those where like I went into the game. I really actually did have a feeling we were going to win this game outright. I put money on it. Falcons were 3.5-point dogs, so I want to say I got the money line at like 160, 170. Maybe it was 200. But either way, I really felt like the Falcons had a chance to win this game outright, and they did. They left points on the board. Koo missing that field goal in the second quarter, I want to say, really hurt. Or I'm sorry, it was the second quarter and the fourth quarter, because that fourth quarter one, that would have been huge. It would make it a 6-point game instead of 3. So there's a lot of different things. Atlanta should have won that game. Got the fumble recovery. Defensive tackle, probably has never handled the ball in his entire life. Fumbles that with no contact. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but it was another one of those Falcons kind of just collapse at the end. Just random stuff happening that allows for a crazy comeback victory for the other team. So, but again, I'm not overly disappointed. I mean, Atlanta should have won that game. I was on the right side of the bet. We just gotta get the players and we gotta get the coaching in there to believe that we can close out games. And whenever we do that, this team's gonna seriously fly, because there's some pieces on this team that are very, very good, and I'm very optimistic about it.
You guys are fun.
They're fun to watch, man.
You guys are actually fun to watch. I will say this. I'll say this about the NFC South right now. It is a total dumpster fire. It is the worst division in football.
Most fun division,
it is so much fun. Like
it is so much fun.
For example, like Atlanta yesterday. That game was so enjoyable. Like not having to watch your team play yesterday, like just getting to watch and make fun of everyone else was like liberating. It was great. And I watched that. The ending to the Tampa Bay game was fantastic. Carolina just getting blown out of the water. But they're still doing it in dramatic fashion, being like, oh, man, Baker Mayfield's back in there. Let's watch this train wreck. Like,
yes, they didn't do horrible, by the way.
Yeah, he didn't. This division is so much fun and it's so bad. It's like going to – do you remember like the really bad Resident Evil movies that used to come out?
I don't think I ever saw those. No,
okay, so they were like, it's Resident Evil is like a very popular zombie video game, but then back in like the early 2000s, they made movies and they were just terrible, awful movies, but they were just so much fun that you didn't care and you couldn't watch away. That's my comparison.
Not to say car accidents are fun, because they're not.
They're not.
But the NFC South is a car accident.
Oh my God.
But watch. But you can't help but watch. It's like you turn and like, oh my God, there's the Atlanta Falcons blowing another fourth quarter lead. Oh, there's Tom Brady, a geriatric out there trying to play quarterback. There's the New Orleans Saints that can't find a guy that's healthy on the sideline, but they're still in the conversation. Carolina doesn't have a guy on the team that I can name, and they're still like in the conversation. The NFC South is just fun, man.
We would also like to confirm that the Oxcore podcast is a non car accident pro podcast. We don't condone car accidents.
I didn't say they're fun. I didn't say they're just, you got to watch it, man. It's
zero fun, sir.
All right,
whatever.
Cancel me if you want.
All right, let's get wide in here.
Packers time.
Green Bay.
Oh, this is my favorite part every week.
Bro, this is like, I want you to know is that like, as a Saints fan, I feel bad for you people. Like, I really do. I feel bad for you. Yeah. Not like, I know my team sucks right now, and because we're hurt and everything like that, you guys are just not good at all.
Nope.
So I'm just gonna let you guys have that. I'm just gonna let you guys, talk.
Yeah, Rodgers, get him the hell out of Green Bay.
3 picks in the end zone, bro. How does that happen?
3 red zone interceptions.
That's insane.
He's underthrowing receivers. He's throwing their ball 1.5 feet above their head, so they have to have NBA verts to go get that ball. And like when you're Aaron Rodgers and the announcers are saying, "Oh my God, what an adjustment that wide receiver made to get that ball," that's not a good sign.
And not only that, not to pile on either, but I mean, there are reports saying that he broke his hand or he has a hand injury, which on his throwing hand can make a difference. But
that
Romeo Dobbs,
that would be the best case scenario.
That thumb injury is a lot worse than it's letting on.
Because we sit Rodgers, we get to play with Jordan Love for the rest of the season, and the front office realizes he's trash.
What if he ends up being good though?
Even better.
What if?
Even better? It's not happening.
So hold on, let me ask you this before you go on. What if Jordan Love comes in? Okay, just hypothetically, Jordan Love comes in, and do you remember what was it? Matt Flynn in 2011. He like threw for like 5-6 touchdowns against like the Detroit Lions, and then he ended up getting like a massive contract from Seattle, and then never played because Russell Wilson took his spot. What if Jordan Love comes in and just like starts lighting it up like for like a couple games? Like he just like plays out of his mind. Like AJ Dillon, it like runs wild. Like they like everything just goes right.
Runs the table. Yeah.
And then you guys sign him to a long-term deal. You guys move Aaron Rodgers. And then Jordan Love ends up becoming the next Matt Flynn. What if that happens?
I think Bond just like thought, I mean, I'm not saying you're going to, but I think he just thought about standing in front of a train.
Look at the
he was listening to Cruz,
I'm
and I
sorry.
just saw it where
I'm
he was
sorry.
I want to go out like that.
Look, buddy, look, take it from me. I went from having a generational talent at QB at Drew Brees that I got to enjoy for over a decade. I got a Super Bowl. I got great years out of it. And I went from Drew Brees to Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, Taysom Hill, and Ian Book. This is your
franchise started Ian Book on Sunday Night Football.
Well, one, because there was no quarterback healthy on the roster.
True.
Jameis Winston tore his ACL. Taysom was hurt, and he was the third string. We tried to get Drew Brees to come out of retirement. Hell, we signed Blake Bortles to be our backup that year, all because of injuries and COVID. I hope you know that you guys sold your soul for one Super Bowl in 2010, just like we did in 2009. And I'm just here to welcome you to your dark days.
No, okay.
They had a decade of pretty much dominating. I mean, regular season was pretty fun.
I was going to say, we were, perennial playoff team, except for the last 2 years of Mike McCarthy.
So were we. We would make the playoffs every year, and we would get that close and just get our heart ripped out. Same as y'all.
Yeah, but you went 7-9 for a few years in between
and y'all did too when Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
Okay,
the Packers and the Saints are the same.
I want to address what
this hurts.
Cruz's hypothetical. I want to address Cruz's hypothetical. That would honestly be a better case scenario. Like if Jordan Love comes out and is just mid, but better than Davis Mills.
Hey, Davis Mills isn't bad.
Then we can ship him off.
He's pretty bad.
Ship Rodgers off to Indy.
Well, because their new head coach loves him.
I mean, if you guys could do that, that'd be the heist of the century. Because anybody that can sit there and look at the first 9-8 weeks of the NFL and say Aaron Rodgers is worth a first-round pick, like you're crazy.
We don't even need a first-round pick. We're gonna.
We just need something. People gave up legitimate picks for Carson Wentz.
That's true.
Somebody will pick up Aaron Rodgers.
I would be fine with a second and a fourth for Aaron Rodgers at this point.
You'll get a first.
Send him to the Jets.
You would get a first for Aaron
and like
Rodgers.
The years
even better.
You would fleece someone for a first. I don't know who, but you would fleece
the Falcons. Could you imagine?
I want you guys to just listen to the remainder of the Packers schedule. I know we've done this before, but listen to the schedule. Listen to this schedule. Tell me where you think we pick up our fourth win. We host Dallas. We host Tennessee.
Maybe.
We go to Philly.
Bad.
Go to Chicago. Host the Rams.
Maybe. Yeah.
Go to the Dolphins on Christmas Day. Host the Vikings and host the Lions to end the season.
Lions, probably.
With how bad Romeo Doubs is out 4 to 6 weeks. Devondre Campbell's still dealing with a knee injury. We just found out today Rashawn Gary tore his ACL. He's out for the year. I don't see us winning 5 games. Over the season. We are not a 5-win team.
Well, and see, the other side of it is like even that Chicago game in Chicago is going to be tough.
Oh, do you guys want to come? Well, cat's out of the bag. I live in Chicago now.
What weekend is that?
That is the first weekend in December, I believe. So
finals the next week.
Or depending on.
Well, I don't think we're going to make the SEC championship game, so.
Ow.
Sorry. Just
ESPN technically has us at 10%, which is kind of nuts to think
But
about.
I have started a Packers agenda on Packers Twitter, and it has picked up steam, and it is full send now at this point.
So if you get a top 3 pick and you end up drafting an offensive lineman instead of a quarterback, like what do you do as fans?
I'm drinking bleach and jumping in front of a train. That's it. I'm done. I quit. It's over.
Vaughn, you don't even watch the game, so
I'll bandwagon the Dolphins.
I watched yesterday's game. It was bad.
Oh, okay, fair.
Oh, you did. I actually watched it. I actually watched it with a few Lions fans at the bar. Wow. No, look, I didn't. I've never seen a Lions fan before. So
I was about to say those are rare in the wild, man.
I'm in the Midwest now, so I guess they're pretty common.
They're you run into them a lot more up there.
But they basically were just like, yeah, it's like we're just at the bar, like we know we're gonna lose, but like we're just having fun, like had some wings, and then all of a sudden, like Aaron Rodgers threw 1 pick, and he throws 2. Then he threw 3. And then my fantasy team was fucked afterwards. That's our 1 F-bomb for the show. But yeah, I was just like, are you kidding me right now? Thank you to Devontae Adams for saving my fantasy team yesterday. That was also not to like rub that in your face, by the way.
Thanks.
He actually did. So
but no, I have started an agenda on Packers Twitter. Matt Schneidman tweeted out that we currently hold the 8th overall pick in the NFL draft. We are 2 losses away from the 2nd overall pick in the NFL draft. I have started an agenda that it is time to tank, and we go get this freaking magician that has had to suffer with Bill O'Brien for the last 2 seasons. Go draft Bryce Young, and it immediately launches you into another decade of being a really good team. Bryce Young is winning. Okay. Bryce Young is winning with Bill O'Brien and Walmart future employees.
No, you know what's going to happen, Wyatt? You know what's going to happen?
We're going to win games we're not supposed to.
We're going to have the worst record that we've had in over a decade. Get a number 2 overall pick, and Bryce is going to announce he's staying for his senior season.
Oh my god! Oh yes, you would still be.
I still would be
good with CJ Stroud. To be fair.
I would be okay with that because then I can really invest all of my mental health into Alabama football. I don't have to split it between the Packers and Alabama.
Dude, if Bryce and Will decided to come back, that would be bananas.
At the number 2 overall pick, we are guaranteed Bryce Young or Will Anderson.
That's true.
I don't care. I'm happy.
Gonna draft CJ Stroud.
We'll draft Will Levis at 2 overall.
Oh my god!
And it's over. I'm done.
Okay, I think that would be worse. That would be worse than an offensive lineman. I think.
Okay, so I think Will Anderson for sure is leaving. Like he's gone. Bryce, that one's interesting because look, Bryce is right now. If you look at the 3 guys for Alabama who are playing the pros, Jalen, Mack, and Tua, all contributed to national championship teams. And they had plenty of weapons, and they had good coaching, and they had everything go their way. Like I would love to see Bryce Young come back for another year and play with an offensive coordinator like Dan Mullen or Matt Rule. I would love to see like him have a competent defense. I would love to see him actually be able to like show off and basically prove that he is legitly the number 1 player in the draft. Because there are people right now who are still wanting to take CJ Stroud and Will Levis over him. If he comes back next year, he doesn't really have any competition to be like QB1. He gets to come back another year. Great. I don't think it's going to happen. He's gone. Like he is. And I hate it.
He'd probably make more money in NIL than he would in the rookie deal, though.
No, I don't think so. I
don't know, dude. He's got to be making bank from Fansville.
I mean, I would say he's probably in the $5 to $6 to $7 million a year right now. Like I saw in NIL money.
In preseason, he was the number 1 in college athletics on NIL with just a little bit north of $3 million, and that was before the season.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Is like now he has Dr. Pepper, Fansville, like all this. He's probably making north of 5 or 6 now. I mean, other than the signing bonus that you would make, for being a top 3 pick, which he for sure would be, you're talking that he's probably making more money in NIL than he is as a rookie in the NFL.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it's still like I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, guys, don't get your hopes up.
But,
no. I refuse to.
Because let me put it like this: like, you remember like how much I talked myself into Mac Jones to the Saints, and it was literally 1 pick away.
That level is about where I'm at right now. You were on draft night, like before the draft started, all excited and everything. You before draft night started is about where I'm at now. And we're not even in 2023
You're
yet.
not ready. You're not ready for that pain, man. I'm telling you.
It's going to hurt
so bad. I just looked outside. I just looked outside, by the way. It is completely
time.
Oh my God.
Pitch black, right? No, it's pitch black here.
So yeah, because so I'll have to show you guys later. I have a beautiful view of the Chicago skyline. It's pretty great. But I looked over and I'm like, it is pitch black outside. All right.
Welcome to the Midwest in the winter, brother.
Nah, it's all right. I'm okay with the cold. All right, let's move on. I know we've been rambling for. It was a long show, but it's needed. There's a lot to go over.
Okay, we could speed run these.
All right, let's do it.
Let's start. Dolphins Bears 35-32 Fins. Justin Fields diced up their defense on the ground.
I was gonna say 3 things. 1, Justin Fields is a good quarterback. He's finally getting the offensive help that he needs.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, I think he's a good quarterback, and you know this. Like, I think Justin Fields will do so much better on a second team than he will at the Bears. I really do. I think Justin Fields athletically is a freak. I thought he was good at Ohio State. I think he has a chance to be the best quarterback in this draft class. Like, I think Trevor is not good. I think Trey Lance, we have no idea. Mac, depending on how his situation goes, like he has a legit shot to be the best out of this QB class. And you look at him, he was doing stuff like 2015 Cam Newton was doing. Like, he can run the football. And the Dolphins defense is not bad. They're a good defense. They just got Bradley Chubb. They have Xavier Howard. Like, they got studs. But I will say this: the Miami Dolphins are sneakily becoming a Super Bowl threat this year. They are good. They are good offensively. They're fast. Here's the thing: even if Tua does not get the pass completed, his wide receivers are so fast in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill that they draw pass interferences like constantly. Now, I will say this: that pass interference on the last drive of the game, very questionable.
Like, we're gonna have when we play them Christmas Day, we're gonna have like 6 PIs in the first half.
Because you have no one who can keep up with them like man to man. So I will say this: I was impressed with the Bears because offensively they were able to keep up with the guys like a team like the Dolphins. It was insanely windy yesterday here in Chicago. I walked out of the door and I just got slapped in the face by the wind for the first time, and it sucked. And then I was impressed with Tua. I was impressed with Jalen Waddle. Impressed with Ty. I mean, this Dolphins team.
The whole offense is really
honestly
good.
This whole offense is really good, and I don't think they're getting talked about enough.
No, I don't really have anything to comment on this game other than Tua is my NFL MVP right now. There's not a defense in the NFL that can stop them right now, and I understand obviously if teams are dealing with different people like Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Mike Gesicki. That's a wide receiving core that is probably top 5 in the NFL. And Tua is, I mean, I love it. He's kind of talking shit now, but he's kind of feeling himself. He's feeling a little bit more confident, in the pocket and coming off the injury. He's really good and he's playing really, really well. So right now he's my NFL MVP. And I love Jalen Hurts. It's crazy. Jalen Hurts and Tua are like the 2 betting favorites for the NFL MVP right now.
We love to see it. All right. What's next?
We got Jets Bills.
Didn't see this one
Reports are coming out that Josh Allen has potentially injured his UCL.
Yeah, I saw that.
But Jets 20, Bills 17. I don't think anyone saw this coming.
No. I did take Jets yesterday last minute to cover the spread. I was like, you know what? Like, I know we talked about on the show on Thursday, and we were in agreement that taking a double-digit spread is a little ridiculous, but it was the Bills. But I was just like, you know what? Like, this Bills seem sneaky good. Or not sneaky good. I'm sorry. The Jets are sneaky good. And I don't know. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to ride with the Jets plus 12.5. And it hit. And they played great. Like Buffalo was able to hang on their own. Sauce Gardner is really good, by the way. I know Diggs worked him on a route. But then he came back, got a big interception. This division right now kind of has a case to be the best division of football this year. You have the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, and even the Patriots. The Patriots won yesterday too. There's good football in this division. This is a legit shot for them to be 3 AFC East teams in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts to think about, but Zach, there's really nothing just like crazy fancy or just shocking about the Jets team. They just win football games. That's all. I mean, they're really effective defensively. They're really complicated on defense. I don't know if you know that Josh Allen was confused half the game, but the Jets kind of find themselves in tight games at the end. They end up winning. So you got to tip your hat to them. I mean, run this one back, and I think they play in late December in Buffalo. Yeah. The Bills are probably going to hang 40 on them because they're the best team in the NFL, I think. But, I guess you got to give credit to where it's due. I mean, the Jets played a hell of a game. Nothing really else to say. Zach Wilson beat Josh Allen in a football game. That's
unbelievable.
Bananas. That's crazy.
I know.
All right. Last game we got to touch on Chiefs-Titans. Chiefs 20-17.
Yeah, 2 quick really points. Patrick Mahomes is really, really good at football. And Malik Willis, I know he had a rough game yesterday. I know that. The Titans have no wide receivers. They should have just paid A.J. Brown. Unbelievable that they didn't. Tennessee's a gritty team, and Derrick Henry's really good. But, man, Patrick Mahomes is just unbelievable. He really is.
Yeah, not much to comment on this one. I'm not a Malik Willis fan at all. I think, Tennessee definitely wins that game with Ryan Tannehill, quarterback. He's injured right now, but anybody that's thinking Malik Willis might be the future in Tennessee, you're going to have to see me about it. Cause I just don't think he's that guy. I don't even know what to compare him to. I think he's like a worse Justin Fields. Like he's good. He's really athletic. You get him out of the pocket. He can make some stuff happen with his feet like 2 or 3 times a game, but to stand in there and throw the ball 35 times a game, that's not my guy. So, but good on Kansas City. They won the game. In Tennessee, kind of gave them a scare there, obviously, for a little bit. They were 13.5-point favorites, Kansas City was in that game.
Yeah.
So fair play to them for keeping it tight.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it, right? We're good?
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, boom. That is our recap show. We'll be back on Thursday. And you can find me online at The Real Cruz Ox on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you Oxcord.
Cruz may have gone on mute there, so I'll just go ahead and say at nperkins96, whenever he decides he wants to plug his microphone back in, we'll let him finish his thing.
He's muted. But also, Cruz, you're muted in StreamYard, not your mic.
Yeah, you're also muted in StreamYard. There you go.
I don't know what just happened.
There you go, Cruz. Finish your thing now.
What happened?
Finish it off.
Oh my gosh. All right, can you guys hear me?
Okay. Yeah, yes. Loud and clear.
Okay. Good. Okay. Well, damn, I don't know what just happened, but you can find me online at The Real Cruz Ox on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you follow the Oxcord Podcast on all socials. I'm really close to 10K, so pretty excited about that. So hoping to get that by the end of football season. And, of course, follow Boot Crew Media because they are great. And download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And, of course, Christopher Mobley. Use promo code CRUISE at 15% off your order. Christmas season is right around the corner.
I already said my thing. Bond, say what you got.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at BondSnow_, and then as always, go follow the Oxcord Podcast on TikTok at Oxcord Podcast.
You guys can follow me online at FultonW_. Follow Boot Crew Media on all socials and follow the Oxcord Podcast. I do also want to give just a really quick second shout out to the TikTok account. That's been killing it. And the stupid muscle milk cow video has been popping up on my account multiple times. And I
love that video, dude. That's my favorite video.
Y'all gotta go check that one out.
Absolutely. Well, we love to see it. Well, we love you guys, and we will see you later this week.